Hi, this is Linda and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of August 26th through September 1st, 2024, and I'm working with the August Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this is the final week in August 26th through September 1st. And for this one, I was back on track with my normal Monday through Sunday weekly spread. And I'm working with the August Stories by the Month kit because this is the last week in August and I wanted to save it for when I wasn't doing a travel spread. So this is just a normal life spread. I didn't trim this so great. I'm gonna fix that. So I need to switch the blade on my trimmer. It's been messing up a bit lately, but I've been a little bit lazy on that. Anyway, so now I need to just try to lay out all my photos and figure out my plan for this spread. I have my Hobonichi cousin here with my weekly spread that tells me an overview of what happened. And this is what I use. I do this pretty much daily to document kind of the factual things of what happened each day. And then I have some highlights here, and I've been putting down here what kit I'm planning to use because while I'm working on this throughout the week, I can keep that in mind if it is something specific, like a themed story kit where I want to pull stories that are specifically related to that theme. So I'm just gonna put this over here for now. But the highlights this week, so I have the story Zoom, which is right here on Monday. I was back in the office after being sick and being traveling. I finally kind of got back to the office, even though I was still pretty sick. So I actually took a 6 day on Friday. I started working on my December daily content for the Ali Edwards blog. Being sick, I had a horrible cough this week, which is still lingering now when I'm filming this video towards the end of September, which is just so frustrating. But that happens to me when I'm sick because I have immunodeficiencies. And then we worked on painting the reading room. So if you follow me on Instagram, I've talked about redoing a room in my house to turn it into a reading room. And we had kind of put that on pause while we were traveling. And now that we got back, we painted it. And coming up soon, we're going to be working on more of that room. So I did print this photo of like the in progress painting, or pretty much when it's done, but the tape is still up there. I do have photos the following week when the tape came down because I think we didn't even take it down until the Monday, or maybe I didn't. Yeah, we took the tape down on Monday because it was Labor Day. So that's going to actually fall in the following spread. But for this spread, I have this one that I printed with the tape. Here's like an in progress and here's the like done one. These ones have filters and stuff, but this one I wanted to try to capture the color of how it actually looked when it was done. And then I have these two like that. So I printed this as a 4x6 thinking it would go here, but then I realized I'm doing the stories by the month and there's always at least 2 4x6 cards in that kit that I want to use. So I'm going to just crop it down the middle and put it in some pockets. I also, let's see what we have. I have Pumpkin got a new feeder, which was kind of a big deal for him in his life. Let's put that photo. I have quite a few cat photos because, I'd been away from him for a bit. And my December daily stuff, I think I printed a few too many photos, but I'll make it work. And then this was Summer's first day of school. And this photo kind of has a funny story. I asked her to send me a first day of school photo. She's a sophomore in college, so she doesn't live at home, so I can't do that first day of school photo anymore. And this is what she sent me, just like a selfie in class. And I did make it slightly smaller than 3x4 so I can back it on something because I knew I had quite a few photos. But I might even crop it even smaller. We'll see. So I'm going to move this out of the way and pull over my kit. So I have my kit in my tray, and this is kind of where I keep them while I'm working on these. And so what I've done is kind of thrown some of my ephemera in here during the month because that is going to go on my card that documents ephemera. You'll see that in a minute. But what I have here were some evidence of being sick. And then this was something I purchased for travel. And again, something I purchased for travel. I didn't do a lot of ephemera from my trip because I saved that for my travel album, but I did pull out one of the things from the airline just to kind of like highlight the fact that I did travel. And then I had this tissue paper from Hubman and Chub Girl from a package that I received from them during the month. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the 4x6 cards first. I really love that vellum. Let's see if there's a way to use that vellum or this vellum. Those are both so pretty. So what I'm basically gonna do initially is just kind of pull out ones that I might wanna use. Cue the cicadas, very funny, but not for my spread here. This one I really love for Project Life, and I probably will like cut these down and put them on 4x6, but not in this spread. This is the one I want to do as my title card. I've been using those. There's been one that's similar to that every month this year. I like that quote as well, but I'm not going to put another 4x6. And then this is the one I use for the ephemera, so that will go there. Then let's go through the 3x4 cards. I'm going to put actually, so this has the year on it, so I definitely want to use that, but I don't know. I want to use it to document August 24, but it looks like one I want to cut up anyways. So this one's probably good to highlight multiple stories, like my bullet point list of stories. I kind of like it near this one because the colors mirror. The currently celebrating card. These cards haven't been my favorite this year because sometimes they haven't had like the things I'm actually celebrating, and I don't really do a lot of these like wacky holidays, but I could do this, like put this cat one on one of these photos of Pumpkin because there are a lot of fun photos of him. Let's see. This story, that looks good for my documenting about the reading room. These I've been putting aside to put in another spread at my recap spread at the end of the year, or the end of my album. And if you're curious about that, I shared how I did the first half of the year using these cards. I have a flip through video of that album, and there's a photo on my Instagram a while back. The calendar card I want to include. And let's see, this one is also very cute. So I don't know that I need this many journaling things. I think this one I can do like my bullet points about this week. But besides the reading room and being sick, I don't really have like big stories. I think I want to do like that filler, but let me see what I have here. This August stories, I've been using those, but not consistently enough. This one I could see cutting out and putting it like on there. These faces are cute. I feel like they were in the open story kit. I like them, but I'm not going to do them on the spread because I don't need that many things. Now this would be super cute to cut up and make some embellishments. Making the most of it. This I could see doing like the 2024, maybe for December daily. Okay, so I'm gonna put those aside. These I'm thinking, I'm not gonna do them, but these ones I'm thinking of maybe like cutting out these shapes. So I'm not sure yet what I wanna do with those or if I want to include them. And then I'm gonna look through the rest of the kit here. So I've got these little labels, which these look like these would be cute to put on a few of my photos to kind of designate things, specifically like this. Oh, I did need a pattern to go behind that one. I forgot about that. I think maybe like this one. And I might crop that down a little bit so that that pattern shows a bit more. And then I have the chipboard pieces. Thinking I could use some of these for sure on here, so I'll probably pull those out. The stamp set I'm probably not going to use this time. And then the die cuts this month were much smaller, which I think are really good for Project Life. So I'm going to see if there's ways I can use some of these on here, like this one. You know, I might want to do that one just to like document the date. I'm not sure yet. Actually, I don't think I want to do these two, and I want to focus more on using some of the ephemera I have and make some like kind of collaged repeated embellishment clusters on a few of my photos. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and get this one put together. Okay, so I really love working with these Stories by the Month kits. I think these are some of my favorite ones to put together. I wouldn't want to do these for every week because they are just easier. I really like the way that the story kits and other kits challenge me to think about specific themes. But for these ones, it's really just like a simple process. So I started by cropping down that photo of my daughter so that you could see a little bit more of that blue vellum behind her. And then I'm cropping down some white cardstock to put behind it because that blue is vellum. The card behind it in the pocket is white, so I technically could have just gotten away with not putting anything in the background, but I just wanted something there. And then I glued that crooked and tried to pull it back up, and it didn't really come up, so I think I tried again, and it just it wasn't working, so I just cropped it again rather than laying it straight. So that's another way to do that. And then I'm just going to glue this photo of her down in the middle of that. So I like that you can see that border around it. And that's something I like to do when I have a lot of photos. You'll see kind of looking at my spread how I tend to alternate photo and card. So there's not a lot of photos touching each other, or where they are touching each other, the photo has white in it. So if you see those two photos of my reading room up in the top left-hand corner of the right page, they're next to each other, but because there's the white wall, it doesn't look too dark or too busy. Same with the photo of the room that's painted in the middle, and then the photo of my mixer down below. The white tile in the background kind of helps break up the darkness. I wouldn't put like that photo of pumpkin on the blanket right under the photo of the painted wall because you would have the dark blue and the dark green next to each other. So I like breaking it up with those whiter spots. And the easiest way to do that, of course, is with the white journaling cards. But another way to do that is to crop your photo smaller and put it on a background. So that photo of my daughter, you could see the background in that photo was like dark black. And it would have worked okay next to that photo with pumpkin because the tile's a little bit light in that photo, but it looked a lot better having a little bit of that border there. Plus I was able to use more of the products from the kit. Anyways, I'm moving on to working on my collage of ephemera. And this has been one of my favorite practices each month. I'm really, really enjoying doing this. I like to do the Stories by the Month kit as the last week of the month now so that I can collect ephemera all month. I think I messed that up one of the earlier months this year, and when I was working on it, the month wasn't over, so I didn't have that much ephemera yet. So for this one, I had to eliminate some of the things because you only get to put 5, but I like putting more options in my collecting throughout the month. So when I'm working on my card, I can kind of decide based on the colors and what I want represented. So I knew I wanted the Dayquil box and the wrapper from my cough drop. These cough drop wrappers, they are so cute. These are like the Halls ones, but they have like little words on it. So it might be hard to see in the video, but this one says like, don't wait to get started, seize the day. Go get it. I think they have things like you can do this, like just other encouraging things and I don't know, I just thought it was super cute. So I liked keeping that. Now you can see I had a couple of them there because I might want to put one somewhere else. And then the Dayquil box, I just cropped down enough so that you can tell what it is. And then this is a label from one of my traveler's notebooks that I picked up for my vacation. And I shared more about how I was using that in my Berlin travel and document video. So if you're interested to hear more about how I use the traveler's notebook, you can check that out. And then I took this card over to my sewing machine and stitched everything down. I don't do that every month with this. I really like the way it looks with the stitch, but it's not necessary because I did use adhesive, but it does add a little bit more just adhesive to really tie it down. And I liked it for something like this where the ephemera I was using was not just plain paper, especially for that wrapper from the cough drop, because the cough drop wrapper did not lay flat. And so even with the adhesive, it was like crinkly and it wasn't laying down. It wasn't fully being stuck. So using the stitching to really stick it down helps to kind of flatten it out and make sure it's not going to fall off over time. When I stitch on my sewing machine, I pull all the thread through the back and then I just tape it down with Scotch tape. I added some in a few different places. I also added it onto that tissue paper that came from Hubman and Chub Girl, again, because it's that different texture. I'm moving on to the right-hand side here. I cropped that 4x6 photo in half because it's going to go into 2 3x4 pockets. And I did that purely because I just printed a 4x6 photo for the spread thinking I would have a pocket for it, and I just didn't. Once I realized, I was using this kit and I wanted to use that 4x6 title card and the 4x6 card for the ephemera, I didn't have any more 4x6 pockets. And yes, I could have switched out the page protector on the right-hand side, but the following week I had already planned out using a story kit, and it was using that 9x12 pocket page protector. Or 9, yeah, they're all 9x12, sorry, the 9 pocket page protector with all the 3x4 cards. So I didn't want to mess with it. And instead, I really like how this came out. I think it worked really well cropping it in half because it was just a photo of the room. If there were like people or something more picturesque in there that I didn't want to crop in half, I probably would have switched out the page protector. I worked on this journaling card here. I just did some longer journaling about what we did in the reading room, the painting and the next steps and the color and all of that stuff because I really wanted to document that. And then I didn't write all the way to the bottom, so I decided to add a few embellishments. I pulled out that Yep from the die cut set and then this washi tape from my stash. It's one that I've had for a little bit. I think I got it from Jet Pens. I'm not sure. But it's just like white washi with some black arrows. And it's probably the one I use in my scrapbooking the most because it's very good to kind of draw your attention to something. And because it's neutral colors, it really coordinates with most things. Then I'm using my tiny attacher just to add a little bit of texture. I added a date stamp there on the bottom, and I'm moving on with the rest of the spread. These die cut pieces were super cute this month. I love how small they were and how they're just really well sized for project life. So I'm just going through them and seeing where I can include ones. So especially the ones that have the date. So like this one says August on it. I'm adding it onto this photo of pumpkin. And then going back to what I said earlier about like the darker cards versus the lighter ones, adding that white August on there really lightens that photo up because it was a darker photo. Other than the white on pumpkin's chest, it had a lot of darker colors. And it's next to that darker journaling card that's above it, and there's the dark green of the photos. So just lightening it up was really nice to do. I also added that 8/24 one onto that photo of my December daily supplies, and I primarily wanted to make sure to use that one because it is dated. Whenever I'm going through a kit like this, I'm always trying to use those dated things first because once it goes past that month, like if there's something that says August 2024 in my stash, it's going to be very hard to use in the future without covering up the date. So a lot of times those dated things, you just really need to use them right away. I'm punching out the chipboard pieces. I really like this die cut for the chipboard with like the little asterisks and stuff. I think they're fun for little embellishments and they work really well with this label set. I also really like this label set. This was a newer one. I don't think I've ever seen this format before with these like little boxes on it from Ellie Edwards, and it's super cute. So you can see how I paired one of those asterisks with one of those for my daughter there for her first day of school. And I wrote, it's the first day of school in that little label. I didn't have space to put more of the story, but I feel like you can kind of tell from the first day of school that, that's the photo she sent me for the first day of school. I added another one of the asterisks on that title card between my dates. I probably should have thought of that before I stamped the dates so that I could space it a little bit better, but it ended up working out. This one here has room for journaling. It says highlight, yes, so good. So I'm going to add some words on there about Pumpkin's new feeder. And so I'm just putting it so that it goes off the edge of the photo and trimming off that extra piece before I do my journaling. I also could have journaled before I glued it down. Sometimes people struggle with knowing kind of how much space they need to write. So for something like this, if you did the writing before you glue it down, then you could line up the label based on how much space you needed. Moving on to this photo of pumpkin in a box, I put the one that says August, again, using those dated pieces first on top of there. And I'm just kind of looking around the spread, trying to decide where I want to include things and what I want where. I really wanted to use more of these labels because I really like using the same thing over and over again on the same spread because I feel like it coordinates. And because I already used one on that photo of my daughter, I wanted to bring in a couple more. So I put one here to document making scones, which is something that I do pretty regularly, but I wanted to kind of get back to doing after travel. And so that's kind of a perfect place to document it. And again, adding one of those chipboard pieces on there to kind of add a little bit more texture and just something else to it. I also like because the other label I added had one of those chipboard pieces, it was repeating that same style. Moving on to this card here. So I wanted to add one of these die cut pieces, but again, it was a dark die cut on a dark background. So to fix that, I added more of that white washi tape just to kind of lighten it up a little bit before adhering the die cut down. And then I'm looking for something to add a little bit of texture because the die cut is pretty flat and so is the washi tape. So I'm adding one of the chipboard pieces on there. And I think I had to add a little bit of adhesive on it to get it to stick. And then I'm going to add some tiny attacher staples, again for texture. Now I'm just kind of looking around, seeing what I can add. I tend to save some of my journaling for the end sometimes, you see, or other times I do it all in the beginning. I think that the embellishing part is my favorite part. So sometimes I'm saving it for last, but other times I'm just, going with the embellishing and saving the journaling for the end. For a spread like this where I'm adding these labels with extra words on them, I'm kind of wanting to save the journaling on that moments card for last because this way I will know what stories I found a place to include elsewhere. I wanted to add another one of these label stickers with some chipboard on it because I wanted to repeat it. So I just added some little notes onto that first photo about taping and painting the reading room. So now I've done that label 3 times across the spread, which is perfect for repetition. I was looking to see if any more of them would work, but I end up putting all of that away and moving on to this journaling card. These journaling cards I like to use for a bullet point list for other little stories from the week. I used my Sharpie creative marker to add some kind of like bullet points, and that was just the black one. And then I'm going to do some journaling and journal just about a few little details from the week. So let's see, what did I journal about? I journaled about doing the story Zoom. I journaled about being sick. December daily release was this week, so I journaled about that. The Hobonichi release was also this week. This was a big week for ordering craft supplies. And then I'm about FaceTiming my daughter, hearing about the first week of school. I do get a lot of questions about what I include from my daughter or from her life, especially now that she doesn't live at home anymore. And I don't really include that much in my album. And the reality is I have never included that much in my album because I've always looked at Project Life as a documentation of my life, not like my family's life, but it's the story of my life. So while my daughter is a main character in my story, she is not the main character. She's just a recurring character, I guess. I'm the main character. So I will include her as she impacts my life. So when she was living at home, that obviously meant she was around a bit more, and I included her a lot more often because I saw her more. Now I tend to include her when I see her, or, we do something together, or something bigger happens in her life that she tells me about. Sometimes if she sends me a photo, I will include it just because I had that interaction with her, but I don't go out of my way to ask her, what did you do this week? Do you have any photos or anything? If she doesn't show up for weeks at a time, that's perfectly fine to me. I do document her life in a separate album that's just for her. And for that one, I do focus on her and her life and will tell stories more from her perspective or from me talking to her. I haven't really been telling stories now that she's at college because it would just be too difficult for me to keep up with. You know, she doesn't want to have to tell me everything that happened and I'm not there to witness it, which is fine. I still have a lot of high school stories to document, and I will likely include a few college stories. I have another video that shares about how I do my daughter's albums, so if you're interested in that, you might want to go check that one out. Anyways, I'm wrapping up this spread and just getting everything slipped into the pockets. Here's a look at how it came out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye!